to invite everyone back to the middle school for the 2023-2024 school year. You know, custodians have worked hard this summer. All the rooms have been cleaned, wax is put down on the floor, and we have had teachers come in to set up classrooms. So we're ready for next Wednesday, August 16th. That will be the first day for students. Students should arrive between 7:10 to 7:30. At 7:30, they'll be dismissed to their homerooms. And those homeroom lists are located on the front doors of our office area, so they're welcome to look at those. But that will be our first day procedure. I'll also remind you on our first day, we do get out of school early. We get out at 2 o'clock. That allows our bus drivers that will have some new people on the route have the opportunity to get them home on time and get back to the elementary so that the elementary students can be loaded and be gone and be on the right schedule. So again, on the first day, we do release at 2 o'clock. It's going to be a great year. There are a few changes and I want to talk about those. The first thing is lockers. You know, before COVID, everyone used a locker here in this building, but then at COVID, we weren't allowed to use the lockers. So as we got out of COVID, kids started not to use lockers. I think a lot of them are afraid of the combinations. So at the end of the school year last year, I met with the teachers and we decided that this year, we're going to really push the lockers. We'll take time out, train students, help them out. They should be very comfortable with the lockers. You know, with lockers, that allows us not to carry these big book bags around. You know, we've had students, instead of using lockers, carry everything they need and what they think they need in book bags. And we had some book bags that were way too heavy. I actually picked one up to give it to a child in the 5th grade, and it was heavier than the child weighed. I asked the young man, I said, "You got bricks in here and blocks? What are you carrying to school?" So we would like to have the students not use those big, bulky book bags, but instead they're allowed to use what we call a sling bag, which we have a picture of, or something comparable in that size to carry their pencils and pens and things around. That's going to make it better for the students. And again, there's no use for not using those lockers. You know, the district has paid a lot of money to put those lockers in, so we want them to use that. And again, teachers will be trained in each grade level and helping with them. So don't let the child worry. We will have locker time and locker orientation. Another thing that we're going to be a change this year is Chromebooks. You know, during COVID and after COVID, we allowed all the students to take the Chromebooks home and use them at home. And that seemed to be a good idea until this past year. We had 296 Chromebooks that had to be repaired this year. And it's getting to where our technology department cannot get all the repairs done because there's so many. And one of the problems that we had is when these kids are taking them home, they're putting them in book bags, and then they throw the book bag around and breaking screens and loosening wires. So 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, those Chromebooks will stay here in the evening. We will not be shipping them home. We'll have charging units. And that we think that's going to be a good plan. Again, we used it before COVID. It worked out well. 8th graders, we are going to allow them to take them home because 8th graders are students, some of them are taking high school related courses, either in algebra or advanced science or advanced history. And they're going to need to take those Chromebooks because of the workload that's required to meet the high school criteria. So again, 8th graders will take theirs home. If there is a situation where a child has a long time illness and is out, we will be signing out Chromebooks for them to take home to get caught up. Also, if there's long vacations, you know, that's a time where a child may need a Chromebook to kind of keep up with their studies. So we are going to allow a sign-up sheet on that. But again, most of the Chromebooks will stay here in the school, and I think that will kind of help us a little bit on the damages that we had in this past year. Another thing is our dress code. You know, the district came up with a district-wide dress code and was approved by the board, and it was adopted last spring. So this fall, we are going to put it in place. There's a lot of changes that I think students need to know. I'm going to tell you a couple of the highlights of one. Number one, we will not allow flip-flops in the school. Flip-flop shoes became a safety hazard, and so through the whole district, flip-flops will not be used. Another one is cut-off jeans, cut-off clothing. No cut-offs are allowed. Another thing that we had a little trouble with is holes in jeans. You're allowed to have holes in jeans, but they can't be above the pocket or the mid-thigh. And we do not allow seam to seam. That means that from one seam of the jean to the other seam, it's wide open. That becomes a safety hazard. So the board's approved not to have those. Probably one other thing is pajamas or pajama material. We do not want pajamas worn to school. Some of these clothing has pajama material. Again, that's something that needs to stay at home. Do not bring it to school. You can see more of the dress code if you go to the website, go to middle school, and then on our student handbook that's listed there, page 24. That would be a good place for you. It'd be good to look over that before you buy all your school clothes in the next week or so. Another thing is cell phones. Well, we went to a cell phones in the locker policy last year, and it was probably the best thing we ever did. We don't dislike cell phones, but it seems to be a big temptation to students in the classroom when they've got that cell phone so close to do things, and they're not engaged with the teacher. So again, cell phones will be kept in lockers. All right, and that's something that we hope that will cut down on the distractions in the classroom. Water bottles was another thing last year. We do allow water bottles. Students can carry them in class to class. We did have some middle school students decide to make water bottles into squirt guns, and we had people squirting in and causing all kinds of distractions. So the penalty this year, if you decided that's what you want to do, your water bottle will be kept in the locker, and you can use it in between periods that you get a drink. Again, we're not trying to be rude on that, but again, constantly fighting students that decide to take water. We have Chromebooks that water on the keyboards does not mix very well. So again, there's reasons why we do things, and that's probably one of the reasons why water bottles will be allowed to use unless you misuse those. The first day of school, again, the students will report to homerooms. Each grade level will have an agenda or schedule for that day. We will be doing some things called PBIS. And so we do have a full day scheduled that day. And again, each grade level will be different on how the grades and those teachers would like to hold that day and get everybody orientated into our new school. Lunch prices. Lunch prices went up a little bit. You can see on the screen that, lunch is $3.15 for students and breakfast is $1.50. Again, we offer breakfast every morning from 7:10 to 7:30. Students go to the cafeteria. They can pick up a warm or cold breakfast item. And so not a problem. So again, it might be a good thing for your students that are rushing at home, pick up their breakfast here at school. We do have a few new personnel I want to announce. Our phys ed department, our new teacher at phys ed is not new to the district. Mrs. Manguette, who was our 8th grade ELA teacher and our track coach, has moved to the physical education department. So she'll be our phys ed teacher in the building. And we moved Mrs. Hayes, who was the 4th grade ELA teacher at the elementary. She's moving up to take the 8th grade ELA that Mrs. Manguette had. So we're kind of excited on those new two changes. One other change is our school secretary. Our school secretary last year had to leave, and Mrs. Schreier was gracious enough to come in and finish out the year. We've hired a new secretary. She is not new to Liberty Union Schools. Both of her children attend here. She has been active in the PTOs, and last year she was at the Reynoldsburg Middle School as their school secretary. So we're real excited to have Melissa Dilly on board, and some people have already had an opportunity to reach out on her on the phone and have conversations with her. She's excellent, and we're excited to have that. This year also, Mr. Alford will be back as assistant principal. I'm going to ask Mr. Alford at this time if he would talk a little bit about homeroom and some other new changes here at the middle school.
Hi, I'm Marcus Alford. I'm the middle school assistant principal. Like Mr. Turner said, I'm excited to be back and just in the middle school again this year. We've got a lot of exciting things to go over, a lot of exciting things that we're planning this year to bring in some cool stuff for our kids here from 5th grade to 8th grade. First thing we want to talk about is open house. Open house last year, we're trying to learn from mistakes. We found out that some parents didn't get to go and see some of the teachers as much as they'd like to, so we're going to rearrange open house a little bit. At 4:30 to 5:45, it will be 7th and 8th grade open house. And in that open house, I'd like to have the 7th grade parents park out front in the front parking lot, enter through the front doors. 8th grade will park in the bus loop behind the building and enter through the back doors. 8th grade, you will go straight to the cafeteria to listen to Mr. Turner's conversation and assembly about opening days and information for the school year. 7th grade, I need you guys to go straight to your teachers, and then you can meet and greet with your teachers. After you are finished with that, you can make your way down towards the cafeteria. You can go into the gym and collect any information. We'll have transportation, our nurse, and the lunch workers there to take lunch fees if you'd like to pay up on lunch accounts and things like that. If you have school fees, you can go to the office and see Mrs. Dilly. 8th grade, you will have about a 20-25 minute conversation with Mr. Turner. He will then release you straight to your teachers. And then at that time, 7th grade will go into the cafeteria and finish up with Mr. Turner. 5th grade and 6th grade is going to start at 6 o'clock. So it is vital that the 7th and 8th grade parking lots be cleared out by 5:45, 5:50 to get more people into those. 5th grade, you're going to park out front. 6th grade, you'll park out back. And then it will be the same kind of routine. 6th grade, you will come in and go straight to the cafeteria with Mr. Turner. 5th grade, you will go straight to the teachers, and you will have time to meet and greet. And then when you're done with that, you can make your way into the gym, collect things, talk to transportation, nurse, the lunch. If you have school fees, you can go to the office. Once the assembly is done with the 6th grade parents, they will be released to go to the 6th grade hallway and meet and greet with their teachers. At that time, 5th grade will be in with Mr. Turner. Attendance this year is going to be a little different as well. All the same routines, but now you'll see Mrs. Dilly, and that's the difference in attendance. Is Mrs. Dilly will be in the front office. She'll be doing the tardies, the check-in and check-outs with, if you have to come and get your kid for an appointment or anything like that. Here are a few key points for attendance. So our bell rings at, our first bell for the school rings at 7:30. Our tardy bell rings at 7:35. That means if you are not in the building by 7:35, you are technically tardy. If you want to alleviate that problem, if you're constantly past the 7:35 mark, have your child ride the bus. If the bus is late, your child is not late. Now, if your kid gets off bus on time and makes it to class late, then they could be considered tardy. Tardies will have discipline. We've changed those rules in the rule book. So you need to go to the student handbook, as Mr. Turner pointed out, that there are a couple things. We have a little bit more detailed plan for how tardies will be, the consequences for those tardies. Tardies also count towards trips, such as good citizens trips, and things like that. So be aware of those types of things and read those through your handbook. Absences. It is vital that you have doctor's notes for all of your absences. Even if it's a partial day, half day, please bring in a note from wherever you are being absent from. There are some circumstances that you will have to get different documentation. If you're unaware of the documentation you need, just call in. We'll guide you to that documentation. But once your child hits 65 hours for the year or 38 hours monthly, you get a letter sent home. This is kind of your warning letter. And once you reach the 72-hour threshold, that is considered habitual, and we'll have to have a meeting. Or if you meet a 42-hour in 1 month, we will have to have a meeting. Next thing is PBIS. PBIS is a school-wide program. It's a state-mandated program that all schools are supposed to be taking part in. Different schools run different types of programs and different things like that. Our program here in the middle school has been established for quite a few years now, but we're always looking to evolve and do some ever needed changes to our PBIS program. This year, we're going to be working really closely with our parent organization, or our PTO, and we are going to be doing a couple big fundraisers, hopefully, that help ensure. And why we are doing these fundraisers is that PBIS has a lot of incentive-based things in it. The school store, our big ticket program, our pride ticket program, good citizens trips, field trips that are related to the curriculum and things like that. That cost a lot of money. So trying to help out with those situations. So be on the lookout for some of those fundraisers are going to be coming out hopefully near the beginning of the year this year. Lastly, I'd like to talk to you about Parent Portal and Progress Book. Parent Portal is easily found with a step-by-step direction if you go to our district website at libertyunion.org and you jump onto either the middle school or high school. They're all pretty much the same for Parent Portal. You click on Parent Portal link, and then it will give you a step-by-step direction on how to either update your Parent Portal and get those enrollment papers finished off so you're completed before open house, or if you have to start a new one, how to do that and who to contact if you are having trouble. The last thing I want to talk about is Progress Book. Progress Book is our means of keeping grades for all students. It is not necessarily how you're going to track the assignments as they are happening in real time. It will be more along the lines of how you track their grades and is it completed. Each teacher will complete those grades and put those in Progress Book. The only way that you can see these grades as a parent is either going through your child's Progress Book account, which we do not recommend because we have another option for you. The other option is having your own parent access code, and you'll have your own account. The kid cannot touch it, and you will always have that access to their grades throughout the year. This is also where you'll get your report cards, is on Progress Book. So if you do not already have access to Progress Book, it is vital that you sign up for Progress Book. In the first week of school, I will have a letter and it will be formatted. If you do not have Progress Book, it will give you a access key, and it will start with a P, and you will be able to go in and log in and create your own account so you have access. If your child doesn't have access, that access key will also come on that same sheet of paper, and you can either help them set that up or one of our teachers, depending on the grade level, will assist them in that as well. So Progress Book will be coming out in that first week or so of school in a letter format, so please be looking out for that. Looking forward to another great year. We got a lot of neat things and fun things planned. Can't wait to see you guys all. It's coming up.